The dimensions of heaven, and this is the second video on the dimensions of heaven. And we cannot add or subtract from the Bible. We cannot add or specifically, it's told us excuse me, not to add or subtract from Torah, and it says don't add or subtract from Revelation. In looking at Revelation, just because it's the type of person that I am, I love to do math. And so what I'm going to show has a possible, and that's all I'm saying, is a possible alternative for how the tribal land would be divided when we deal with heaven. Remember, this is just a possibility. I'm not saying it is. I'm not trying to add something. I'm just saying it's a possible thought process of how it would happen. The creator of the universe thinks in multiple dimensions. This is a two-dimensional issue that I have. I think more in two dimensions. He thinks in so many dimensions I can't, again, there's no comprehension of how he thinks. So, as it pertains to the dimensions of heaven. Now again, many people will say, well, it's this giant cube because it's got to be as high as it is for the length and width. But the problem with that is in Revelation 21:16, it says it's got four corners. It's a square for the city. Well, a cube has 8 corners. So it doesn't sound like it's a cube. One of the other alternatives is a pyramid. Well, a pyramid has 5 corners. So I don't think it's a pyramid, although I think it would be more like a city with a giant tower in the middle. That's my own impression. Based upon what I'm seeing and reading, that doesn't mean that I'm right. It's just one possible alternative that would work. And that's all I'm trying to say. It's possible. That's all. It's just possible. But we know the dimensions. They're about 1,337.8 miles east to west, north to south, and of course I assume the center section or the center building, whatever it is, where the temple complex is or the palace complex would be this giant structure, 1,337.8 miles high. And again, it could have multiple dimensions. I think 2-dimensionally or at best 3-dimensionally. But if I'm looking at the thing and we have 12 gates, and it just says they're from the tribes, which means I believe Levite would have, obviously, a gate to go through. And if that is a factor, and again, if we're dealing with 12, and if things are divided up equally, those are all ifs. If we take a square and we put an X in the middle of it, we have 4 triangles. We can take a triangle segment and put 2 more lines in it, and we will have 3 equal triangular pieces, triangular in area, okay? And then you repeat that for each of the segments up there, and so you would actually get 12 segments. And I can actually show you, because it's kind of interesting when you run the math. If you were trying to run it equally, those corner pieces, the side coming down for that triangle. Let's assume we're dealing with the southern section. Okay, it will come down. The bottom beam here from the center is 945.967 miles long. Now again, the bottom section is 1,337.8 miles long, but for each tribe, where it's divided up, it's 445.933 miles. And what that does is it gets one centerpiece in there with the 2 prongs for that tribal land division, and those prongs are each 705.082 miles. And again, you don't have to worry too much on it. I just love the math on it. It's approximately 95 million acres per tribe. So again, it's just an interesting thing. I like playing with stuff like that. That doesn't mean that's right. He could do wavy lines. He could do anything he wants. And again, that's assuming it goes straight to the corner, or the center, which we know it's not. At some point there'll be a block out for those things that are closest to the Messiah and to the Creator. So there'll be something that's deleted from the center of that. But I guess why I really kind of did this is more so we could see there would be a benefit, for hierarchical, because those who are living closer towards the center would certainly be those who have more treasure. The treasure they would have the benefit of the rest of eternity. So, if you're in there, you don't want to be at the very back segment against the wall, against the gate. You want to be closer to the Messiah, closer to the Creator, if at all possible. That's all I did with that. So it's just a way of thinking about it, dividing that up in 12 equal segments. And I know it's kind of weird, but he always talks about things from the east first. When he does something, he says east, south, west, north. Which, again, it's just one of those interesting things. If our time is based upon 12, just like our regular clock is now, where we have 12 o'clock, would he actually have it that way, or would he start like 2 o'clock, which is starting east, so 2, 3, 4, east, 5, 6, 7, south, 8, 9, 10 for the west, and